So I'd like to give a troll some trolling school. If you're gonna troll me, you better come with guns a-blazing, because otherwise you're terrible at it. So I've been doing it since like 1994. So there's a guy, Douglas Taylor, on what do you call it, Facebook, and he doesn't have very many pictures in his profile, at least that I could see. One was a bottle of scotch that the only reason why I recognized it is because someone gifted this to me, which I will never drink because I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. I don't have vices that way. Mine is sex, right? But that's another issue. We talked about that the other day about massage parlors. So, but mostly I just, do it yourself sort of thing. But I thought it was funny though. He brought up 12-year-olds and I was like, that's sad. Yeah, just so you know, in Vatican City, the consenting age, and also in most of the Jewish community, 12 is an adult for a boy, because it says it in the Bible. Not that I agree with stoning women and all that other shit they say in the Bible. And then they say that girls are an adult at 13, which I think is a little double standard, but yeah, whatever. It's their, whatever it is, 5,000-year-old rituals. Not that I care, but I don't like to judge people. I like to just say namaste. May the light in me recognize the light in you. Oh, look at that. Recognize the light. I came out with these Monkey Punch series. It's the Audio Legion, what do they call it? Armor? I don't know, whatever. It's their mid-level. It's the same as the Scar SDR. So all I'm going to do is put a fancy looking cap on it, a bead of E6000 to hold that cap down, and that's it. And then I'm going to sell it as a premium woofer that's like $150. So, and I'll put it up against the Rockford P3 because it's rated at 600 watts, and I think the P310 does 500 watts. So, or put it up against the W3 version 3, which is basically the same woofer, but they use a tiny 1.5-inch coil on that one. It's 8-layer, whatever that means. So, but I just thought it was interesting the way people was like, dude, if you really want to troll me, like, you really gotta come at me. And then of course I use it against him, like Steven Seagal, right? That's what Steven Seagal's famous for, is using whatever, it's Tochi, whatever, ma, some sort of martial arts that uses your weight and your attack against you, things like that. So I think I wanted to show you a little shop update. More 2.5-inch motors coming. Working on those. The triple stack I'm going to use just a regular 40mm coil, and then the quad stack version, which is this one, I'm going to use a special top plate that has a thicker. Did I already put the sample in the car? Oh, that's right, I got to go to the machine shop. Let me do a quick review on the Sundown E series version 2. So there was see, and now I understand what Jacob was doing. Technically what he's doing is correct as far as the difference between a version and a revision. Okay, a revision is a slight change, like you're changing soft parts or spider or cone or something like that. A version is like a base change, like a big change. So, but this is version 2. Version 1 had a E-Series, had a 2-inch coil and was good for 500 watts. And I think they rate this one at 600 if I remember right, because it uses a 2.5-inch coil. We got one of the first batches, which were terrible from the factory. They were slip sliding and shifting all over the place, because we got them for super cheap, like 15 bucks each, and I think I bought like 2 pallets worth. So we took them all apart, we prepped them, and then figured out a easy shim, like using popsicle sticks or something, and we use the devil jizz and put it back together. But I just wanted to show you this. So it looks like it's doubled up leads, but it's actually flat. Very soft spider. Used a all copper coil. This one the guy torched. I ended up picking this guy up for $10 yesterday when I picked up this little gem. I paid $50 for this. Get the dead woofers for free. Got the capacitor, which says $280 on it, which is probably for all of it, but whatever. So it's probably at a pawn shop, and I just got to like fix the terminal, you know, something like that. So, but I'll put the new what am I calling them? Monkey punch. That's right, Jizzlama monkey punch. 3 of those in here. So those are dual 2. So I'll wire them in series for 4 ohm, and then 4 ohm times 3 in parallel is 1.3 ohms. So we can probably match it up with the Recoil RED 1200.1, which I reviewed today. You guys can go check that out. So, but back to the Sundown E. That's what I'll title this one. So 2.5 inch coil. It says Sundown on the back. I think this is the latest version. Looks like they put some hardware in there to keep them from shifting, which is very smart. When I start importing motors, that's what I will be doing as well. Because, like, you know, sometimes China doesn't listen, and so then you have to design something. You have to design around China. So, but oh yeah, that was the other thing. Is what's his name? Chris Burley. Having problems with him again. He got a motor. It shifted on him. Like, I don't know what that means. So, but he wanted a discount and a new motor, and I was like, that's fine. We're only going to do this once, though, because, you know, life is tough. And of course, I don't design anything to shift or break. And, you know, what are you going to do? So I'm trying to be nice. I can't always be nice. And I tell you this because whenever Lord of Bass, I was buying the, I think it's called the LVL 25, which is the 2.5 inch version, and the LVL 3, which is the 3 inch version, double stack, basically a TC9 motor slash SA Sundown motor. As per instructions from George Campos, owner of Lord of Bass, sometimes in a top plate, let me see if I can show you what. This one. And see, it's true on this one too. So these are from Concept when they were building for other brands. So you can see there's a slight, I don't know if you can see it if I flex it back and forth. They put like little ridges in there, a little spiral, and that is to catch the epoxy. It's not glue, it's epoxy. So what I found though is that then when you anodize over that, like they've done with this, in this what's called gunmetal chrome, it doesn't stick. And what George had done was he'd only put this on one side, the ridges. And if you want to outsmart China, what you have to do is put the ridges on both sides. So, because what happens is they get these guys in from the, again, these are like paisas, they're countrymen in China that are assembling these woofers. You know, they're whatever, they get paid $1 an hour or whatever it is. It's more than, believe me, it's more than what they get paid farming rice and picking tomatoes by hand. So what happened was George only specified to groove one side, but then he didn't specify to the guys at the factory which side to put down. So Murphy's Law, which you can Google that, why that's come up, is the same thing, which was that there's a 50-50 chance of getting it right. And so 50% basically of the motors that we got from him would shift. And that's because they were gluing the silky side, the smooth side. And so what I do is I go back and I actually grind it. So, and when we get our stuff done from China, I demand that they grind it. It's funny, I actually was working with a metal, whatever, manufacturer over there, and I said, hey, can you guys grind it? And then they did. He actually sent me a picture, like, see, and it was a shitty grind. It was not, this was way nicer. So again, you have to be very, very specific with them, and a lot of times they'll just charge you a little bit more money, but this, I think, is a better way to get around them, because China is, they're very good at being efficient, at cutting out the bullshit and trying to get to the heart. Sometimes they cut off their nose to spite their face, but so back to my story with Chris Burley, was that George gave me 0 refunds. Zero new motors, 0 parts, 0 anything. When you buy a motor, you buy a motor. When it leaves his warehouse, it is not shifted. If you get it and it is shifted and like shipping, that can be something different. But again, what you want to get good at is learning how to fix shifted motors. Okay, so that's what makes you independent. That's what makes you strong. If you listen to Jordan Peterson, what we really need is more strong people, not weak people. Not weak people that ask for handouts and take the bus, right? Because they got a DUI or something like that. When you take the bus, you have to wait on the bus. You have to wait for the bus, and it doesn't drop you off exactly where you want to go, right? So don't take the bus. Be independent. Go do what you really want. Yes, it's harder, but you get what you want out of life. So anyways, that's my review on this thing. It handles like 600 watts. It's fine, whatever. They tooled up their own frame with their logo in it, and it's got some venting underneath the spider landing, which is whatever, it's good. This guy really abused it because the coil was really burned. And then I think I wanted to say something about the cone. It's a good cone, good roll, double stitched for whatever. And then I'm running low. It's funny, when I ordered all these Sundown caps from Sundown, I think somebody was like, why do you need so many? I was like, I don't know. I like, they're cheap. They were cheap. They were like $1 each from Sundown. And you can't buy them. Because you're a peasant, and I can't buy them because I'm a trader. And so, but it's like free money. This thing is worth like $40 to me. So, because if it doesn't have this cap on it, people don't want it. Well, people do want it, just it's a different market. But brand whores, people that think brand is important, they demand this. And I go, okay, well, then I charge an extra $50. All I have to do is still be cheaper than what Sundown sells for these for on Amazon or Wholesale House. And I got a sale. That's how that works. So, but I love you guys. Trolls, I love you. That's why I reserved hatefans.com. I take screenshots of all your stuff and I put you in a little folder because I'm petty like that. I'm not always petty, but I like to have fun with it, right? I think, what was his name? Douglas Taylor, that's right. Douglas Taylor was like, he was trolling me on an ad that I posted for the SPG 555 from Boston Acoustics that I had done a review about, and I had openly admitted that I thought it was a turd. I didn't really like it. So, but the guy that left it, I think he went to jail because I haven't seen him in almost a year. And basically, I think he bought it at a pawn shop for $250 in the box, which I thought was a great deal. And I said, well, anything over $250 and whatever, I'll still sell it. So, but I'll give him the $250 credit towards a purchase or whatever. But he's got trouble. He's got problems. He's one of those guys that, will buy one woofer and then he gets a deal on another one woofer, and he puts the mixed ones together. And I'm like, you don't want to, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying you don't want to do that if you want to get the results that you want. Flip, always be flipping so that, find other people, help this person, and then you can get up enough money and buy a sub from me or a pair of subs if that's what you want. Or there's really good deals. I was looking at deals today. There was somebody that hit me up for a 10-inch dual 4 woofer that was about 750 watts, and I had a couple of options but I didn't like them, and he's like, it's for daily because you want something with a low FS right around 35 hertz, and I was like, dude, I'm really behind. I don't want to promise or even talk about production when I'm already behind on your other woofer. So I did a little research, and I had come up with the Armada. That's what it's called, the Armada 10, which is, again, I'm rebranding as the Monkey Punch from Jizzlama. And so anyways, I came up with that one, and I was like, they only had dual 2 left. So I was like, he needs a 2 ohm final load, and he's running 4 of these. I'm like, so I looked at good old Scar. Scar is great, man. For the most part, I mean, some of their stuff is a little overpriced, but for the most part, it's really priced well. And you gotta just watch your FS. I had somebody else bring up the difference. They're like looking at the ZVX. I don't like their nomenclature. It's kind of hard to memorize, but the ZVX12 has an FS of like 50 hertz. And he's like, why is that? And I was like, well, you want the VXF. The VXF is the next step down, but they use a copper coil and a soft spider and the TI frame. And so it has a lot of excursion. It's limited though, because the coil isn't quite tall enough. It's the same problem that Wolfram had on their AG. They would use the TI frame for show and for clout, but they don't deliver because they use a short coil. Anyways, so I said, well, you know, they ended up being like 135 shipped, which I thought was a really good deal. And I said, you know, what I can do is go ahead and offer you some dust caps for like $6 each, and then you can recap them and then put, you know, your own graphic on them if you want, because he's doing the install and he's just gonna stick them in the box. And so he was like, Scar. And I was like, Scar's good. Scar doesn't know Scar is garbage. And you know, you got to look at the price point and the performance that you're getting. I really love the DDX. The DDX is their version of the Sundown SA, and it's super affordable. Right now, there's version 1, revision 3 essays on Amazon for like $240. It's like, well, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy, but you know, whatever. And you know, Scar sells a brand new version of that for like $130. I was like, that's a way better deal. And again, it's a double slug magnet, but it's just a 2.5-inch coil, so it has a good punch and a good power handling, but it saturates at like, you know, 650, 750, whatever they rated it at. I think they rated it at 750, and Sundown does a more conservative rating at 600 or 650 or whatever. It does like 1,000 watts with a fucking 2.5-inch coil. It's fucking great. So, but anyways, I said, well, if you want to go bigger, look at the EVL, which is their next step up from the DDX. I think there's a couple of different series that they added, but I don't remember. I just know the EVL is next up. But the problem with the EVL 10 is that it has a high FS in the 40s, which is the same problem with the Audio Legion. I call it the Pfister series because it's the Llama Pfister series, but it's the Gladiator. The Gladiator 10 has some problems in that the FS is too high, and the way that they tried to get around it is they recommended a 1.5 cubic foot for a 10. That's really big. That's really huge. And then of course they get positive reviews that are like, it sounds great, but it's a SPL sub, so it's not that great. And that's why I picked up the Armada, because the Armada has a more reasonable FS around 35 hertz, which is more doable, and I wanted to try those out. So. And it's a great woofer. I highly recommend it. I think they're only like $62. And in order to get free shipping, you'd have to order $100 worth of shit. Just so you know, a master pack is 4. And it was funny. I'm always reminded when I go to order stuff. Larry's like, Larry at Recoil. This is Larry V, not Larry F. Even though Larry F would say the same thing, which is that you're a pussy if you don't order a master pack. So now I order master packs of everything. I'm like, okay, it's going on your card. You don't give a shit anyway, so just put it in a master pack. So, what a master pack is for. So if you want to help the warehouse guys and not be a picky bitch, then order 4 at a time. They're very affordable, and you should be able to sell them for $120 to $150 each, especially when you rebadge them. Don't wait around for the price to go up when they finally go out of business. That's too long. You want to flip these in like a week, maybe 2, and then go back and do it again. So. But the Armada series is their mid-level. It's the same as the Scar SDR, which I did a review on, and it's a good woofer. Whatever, it's fine. It's 500 watts. But watch out on the Gladiator series. You want to make sure that on the Gladiator you only get the 12 or the 15, which I got in. They're great. They have a nice low FS. They work great in sealed or ported, and they pound the fuck out of it, and they're really, really cheap. So, and of course I usually mark them up at least double, which is what you used to be able to get in car audio, which was the standard, which you should be able to double your money. So, and that's what I want to do with Blackjack Audio. Again, I'm developing that on the side as well as, today, Audio Guts. So I did reserve AudioGuts, I think, .com and .org back when Ant at DIY Mobile Audio had put up a paywall for the website that he bought called Amp Guts. and which is a super dick move. And since then, me and a couple other guys, one of them, Nicky Friesen, have done, I forget what he calls it. I think he calls it Automotive Audio Guts on Facebook. It's a little forum that we put, just posting up, hey, it uses this device, and hey, it's, here's the board shot and all that kind of stuff. And also, so you can just kind of, it's good for nostalgia, but it's also good for informational purposes if you need to share or network with somebody. So I'm going to start promoting the Audio Guts, not Amp Guts. This is a totally different thing, because I want the guts of everything to be available. So when I start doing motors, I'm going to give you the reviews. Oh, that's what I should do. Let me pause the video and then I'll get the gap dims on this so you know what the gap dims are. Hang on. All right, so a couple of details I want to put on here. So they actually bolted down the spider to the landing. Again, that's not a quality thing. It means they've had problems with China usually shipping the woofer not cured, and it also gets rid of the need to even clamp, because sometimes you can't clamp, like you can't clamp in this area right here. You can only clamp in the windows. So it gets rid of that need, and also you can ship it wet. So they still got to clamp up here, which is fine, and is actually, if you design the gasket correctly, it'll actually hold it in place. Not that that's the best thing to do, but again, China's really good at efficiency. So, and then one of the things, the specifications that Jacob had put on here was to use washers, just because the heads, these are just number 10s, 1032s. Again, it's typically because of, they'd rather use an M5 or whatever. Again, cheap. So if they're already making number 1032s for America, just make it for this. It's not that it has anything to do with quality or blah, 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 any of that bullshit. So, but anyways, let me get the specs. You always want a 0. There we go. And then I'll do this. You always want to measure in millimeter, because that's the measurement of the future. So it's a 62 standard. And then the OD of the gap, actually we could just do it eyeball. It's going to be right at, you got to hold it in place, and see, I messed it up. It's probably going to be right around 70. So let's go with 70. So, but usually what you want to do is go in on the OD, you want to come in like a millimeter. And then on the ID, you want to have at least half a millimeter as a shim, so you want to add a whole millimeter to the ID. So it was the OD of 70, and then an ID of 62.3. So, that tells you what coil you're going to use. So, and again, on this one, the motor's powerful enough. This is a 5,600 watt motor. You want to use copper. You can, if you want to use a softer spider, which this spider is actually already pretty soft. You can use a fatter or whatever aluminum coil, but it's going to be lighter and you're going to have problems with your FS. So you don't want to do that. But let's see, was there anything else? I think that was it. But I want to give, let me pause it real quick. Hang on. All right, so I got the numbers in my head, which is that, shit, I didn't write down the bolt pattern. But top plate is 10 millimeter thick. It's a dual 20 millimeter slug, so you end up with 40 millimeters of space there before it hits the back plate. Now, Jacob might have, yep, he did a little bump and vent. And what's funny is sometimes in China, it just looks bumped and vented. In real life, inside, it's just flat. It's not really bumped. But it gives it the idea of the bump. So, but this one has got the laser on it. It's the version 3. Bolt hole pattern. Let me grab that real quick. It's a little bit of a weirdo at 105 millimeter by 6. So that would be represented as, you say, 105 millimeter BHC, which is bolt hole circle, times 6, meaning there's 6 positions in the bolt hole circle. You can also do, 105 millimeter BHC 8, like on the Diamond Audio D3, which is a really great motor. I love it. It's very popular. I've reconed hundreds of them. And yeah, so 10 millimeter top plate, 40 millimeter slugs. Oh, these are the diameter on the slugs is 155 millimeter. So this looks like it's got a little bit of an underhung on the top plate. So the top plate's probably 150 millimeter. And then it's got an ID of, do you guys remember? 70 millimeter. So that's basically the whole drawing that you need. You could go with, you know, the pole height and figure out what you want. Of course, you always want it a little leading, just sticking out a little bit, just in case you get some over excursion. You don't want it to lock up and stick like that, because then people go, this subwoofer sucks. It's like, obviously you were abusing it, asshole. But you know, that's not how they see it. They're like, I don't know what happened. It's just it stuck a belly button out and then it fried and I smelled the smoke. I don't know what to do. So there's a lot of that. So, but I think that was about it. Yeah. So that makes the recommendation. You're going to go with a standard 30 to 35 to even 40 or 45 millimeter. That's about it as far as wind height goes on your copper coil. And I think these come in a standard dual 2 or dual 4. Is it a good woofer? Yes, for right around $100, which I think is what the lowest I saw them at, but they might have raised prices. I'll check and do a link on Amazon if you want to check them out. But that's my review on the Sundown E version 3. Thank you for listening, and if you are a troll and you're thinking of trolling me, please get some practice in. Please be better than me. I want to be impressed. So otherwise, you're just like Paul Goebel, just sad and lonely and piece of shit. So, but anyways, I love you guys. Talk to you later.